Today we have Garima Mundra with us, who has secured All India rank 80 in this year's civil service examination. Welcome, Garima,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
and tons of congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So, were you expecting this, that you will be in the top 100?
Definitely not. I don't think anyone who's in the top 100 expects to be in the top 100. I was honestly not even expecting to be on the list. I was looking for jobs before my result came out, but it was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Garima, you are from Gujarat, Ahmedabad, yeah?
Yes,
Of
ma'am.
late, many students from Gujarat have started appearing for this exam. Like there was a trend, there were like limited number of students who were appearing from Gujarat. Yeah. So what has been like you have studied your like you have done your schooling and everything from Gujarat only?
Yes, I did my schooling from Gujarat and then I moved on to do my BCom from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. So
Okay.
yeah, as you said that Gujarat doesn't have this culture at all. Like यहाँ पे business या फिर foreign जाने के अलावा लोगों को
That's
इतना
why that's why, yeah.
that is their main agenda of life. And अभी भी काफी time लगता है to explain कि क्या है UPSC का exam क्या है. But ठीक है, it has been picking up for sure. And I think Gujarat, people from Gujarat in the UPSC board has also been helping the Gujarat candidates, hopefully.
So, Garima, so from where did this idea pick up in your mind? Like after coming to Delhi or from Gujarat? Because as you yourself are saying that Gujarat had a very limited culture of civil service
Yes,
examination.
yes, exactly. So it was my father actually who just mentioned it offingly in my 12th standard that, CA MBA तो सारे बच्चे करते हैं, कुछ IAS बनोगे तो कुछ, point है. तब पता चला था that what exactly is IAS. And then when I went to DU, so DU has a very vibrant culture for every career opportunity possible.
Mm.
So that is when I found my interest in civil services, and I thought it is worth giving a try at least, considering how difficult the exam is. So yes.
So let me tell the other people also that Garima has appeared first, then second attempt, and then this is her third attempt. In the first
Third
attempt,
attempt,
she
yes.
could not get through prelims. In the second attempt, mains was the hurdle. And in the
Yeah,
third attempt, she got All India rank 80. So
yeah.
Garima, like first attempt, finally you could not make it. Second attempt, you could not make it. And then third attempt. But see, it looks so good when it ends well. But the point is, what kept you motivated? How did you keep yourself motivated throughout this journey for almost 3-4 years?
So yes, for this exam, I think inner motivation is the biggest factor. People around me were always very supportive, but at times I felt that the motivation inside me is, going down a little bit with each attempt. I think my personal improvement over all the three attempts, which I personally saw that, okay, if I've not cleared prelims once, I've been able to crack it with a big margin the next time. If I've not cleared mains, I'm doing much better in my mock tests this time. So when I saw that graph of improvement for myself, I think that was pretty helpful for me, that it's not unachievable. Plus, I was happy to be around people who were clearing prelims and mains and interviews. So it felt like कि ठीक है वो भी कर सकते हैं, तो why not?
Yes, yes, yeah. Self-motivation and faith in yourself, that's the biggest key
Yes,
for this exam. And for anything, any other thing in life also, you need
true,
to have that.
true.
Yeah. So Garima, in the first attempt, prelims nahi hua. ठीक है. So what were your lessons from this? Because prelims are also approaching. So what like strategy you adopted first, and then how you improved upon that?
So first prelims, the main reason which I felt I could not clear it was that I was very new to the exam. I was doing self-study back at home. I did not interact much with a lot of people who were appearing. And I over-focused on, I think, current affairs a lot in my first exam and neglected the static part a little bit. And even in the first paper, I didn't really know that, the number of questions, the negative marking, I didn't really plan it out that much. So I ended up attempting like 94 questions in my final paper, and I missed the cutoff by 1.5 marks. So even if
Mhm.
I had attempted 2, 3 less questions, I think I would have cleared it in the first go. So yeah, finding out that sweet spot of the questions and also focusing on the static part the next attempt onwards, that really helped me.
So we should keep in mind that prelims is not only about current. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there are certain sections where you need current, but then majorly the exam is around your static part. Yeah, that clarity should be there. And then the hurdle. In the second attempt, mains was the hurdle. So,
Yeah.
what were your learnings or lessons from the second attempt, and how you improvised upon your mains?
So second attempt when I was giving my mains for the first time, my biggest takeaway was that I was not able to finish my papers on time. And in my actual exam, I left around 60, 70 marks. So time
Hmm.
management was a problem that I didn't work on. And I think it was a lack of answer writing and a lack of, smartly learning what I'm reading and able to recall it at the time of the exam. So this attempt, I really tried to focus on answer writing, and I also made sure that my introductions, my conclusions, I had some themes and intros pre-made in my head that if this question comes on agriculture, I know what to write, what to end with, which diagram I can use. So that kind of mental mapping of things really helped me this time, where I was able to finish all my papers, and I think that was the biggest hurdle that was keeping me back.
So, Garima, time management, that's a very big challenge for many of the aspirants, yeah? So,
Yeah.
what do you do to manage your time?
So what I did to manage my time was one thing which I mentioned, that the introduction. So you see the question and you get stuck for 30 seconds on what is the
Mhm.
first word that I should write, and it should also be pretty impactful because that's the first word the examiner is also going to read. So those kind of things I had figured out. I had a lot of data with me which I wanted to use. I had a lot of diagrams which with me which I used in my exam, these things. And one more thing that people suggested to me was attempt the first 5 questions in the first giving 8 minutes per question, and then move on to your 15 markers. So in my second attempt, I used to go 1 to 20 in that same order, and ended up missing a lot of 15 markers which has a lot of value. So this time I kind of shuffled around the questions a little bit, played to my strengths in the beginning, and then the questions I didn't know at the end. So that really helped me.
Okay. So, Garima, you are a graduate in BCom, yeah, BCom
Yes.
honors. And your optional was commerce and accountancy, which is also a subject which is not very common, yeah. But I think
Yeah.
because of the graduation, you have
Yeah. Yeah.
taken up this optional. So commerce and accountancy background, and then they like in your GS, you have different subjects. You know, some of them would be like again kind of a subjects that you have not been in touch for a long time, like history, geography, or international relations, and all those things. So how did you manage all these things?
So yeah, commerce and accountancy is a very supposedly underperforming optional, and a lot of my friends from that optional have left me midway in the journey to
Yeah.
choose sociology or anthro or something like that. But I think because of my graduation, my 11th, 12th, I always felt I had a very good hold on the subject, at least the numerical part of it. So my paper one, which is mostly numericals, I felt pretty comfortable throughout. I only had to work on paper two a little bit more, and I saw that optional questions keep getting repeated year after year. So previous year questions were very good supportive material for my optional. So that kind of narrowed down my preparation. I streamlined it pretty effectively, and I actually focused more on GS because commerce optional is not very rewarding. You can only reach till a certain limit, and then you cannot expect 300 plus in that optional. So I
Yeah.
knew that I had to cover up through my GS. So I actually focus a lot more on my ethics, on my essays, and other papers.
So what was your strategy for ethics, for essay?
So for ethics, I've struggled a lot, honestly, because there's no fixed source for that particular subject. Otherwise, everyone has a standard book. But
Yeah.
ethics, there are multiple strategies. So within the last 2 years, I actually made online notes. one that really helped me was online notes, so I can edit it as much as I want. And it is a very dynamic subject. So whatever examples you read in newspapers, so I tried to use a lot of current affair examples that can
Mhm.
be, shown to see that you are an aware
Okay.
citizen. Yeah. And again, for ethics, a trick that I used this year was that I used a lot of ethical terms throughout my papers to make it sound like an ethics paper. Because otherwise, when you see, you end up writing very generic answers, which makes sense,
Mhm.
but then it becomes a GS paper rather than an ethics paper. So I had a list of almost 50 to 60 terms that were very ethical and very, technical in nature. And I kept spreading them throughout my paper in between. And with answer writing, it's very easy to use. So
So,
that really helped me.
so in a way, you have shown to the examiner, yes, I have the hold over
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah,
The
exactly.
lexicon was also the key, almost 50 words you have like
Yeah, yeah.
bugged up. Okay. And what about essay?
So essay, something which I struggled in my second attempt. I had gotten only 75 marks in my essay in my second attempt for some reason.
Mhm.
But again, I think reading a lot of topper essays and finding out that what is a balanced essay, what does it look like, how do they break down that topic. So topper essays were a very good source for me, and I used to pick up a lot of examples from topper essays and made my own list and compilation of those examples. And such examples you can use in any philosophical
Yeah.
dimension at any time. So yeah, that really helped me.
So, Garima, did you join some test series or did you write some tests before going for the final mains exam? So, you were constantly writing the test papers before the exam, or it was like few months before and then you have taken a break, or what?
So I in my this current attempt, I did write before my prelims exam as well because I knew my answer writing is weak. So I started around January, wrote for 2 months, then switched on to prelims. And then post prelims, I diligently finished all the tests that they had. I didn't skip any, even if it was not very useful for me. I tried to stick to their schedule and match mine according to them so that I have a very good, thorough answer writing practice.
Okay. So, Garima, then the final stage, that is your interviews. How was your experience with UPSC?
So the interview stage, because of my mocks, I was not very nervous. I had gotten good feedback from almost all of the mocks. And the final day was also pretty easy breezy because mine was the first to go in the morning. So I didn't even realize when it started, when it ended. It really didn't hit me that much. And I had Dinesh Dasa sir's board. And they were pretty cordial. The questions were not at all grilling. They didn't cross question me once. I would have liked a little bit cross questioning probably, but it was a pretty straightforward conversation, nothing very offbeat, honestly.
So the questions were around your DAF or they were asking you other questions?
Uh, Almost around my DAV, so about Gujarat, about taxation, because I had commerce as an optional and as a graduation subject. I had poetry writing as a hobby, so something about that. And I had IFS as my first preference, so a little bit about, International Day of Yoga and diplomats in general. So yeah, it was around my DAV mostly.
Okay. So, Garima, you have been part of our interview guidance program also. How
Yes,
is
I
your
was.
experience with us?
The next IAS interview was, yeah, it was pretty nice. The panel was very nice. It was my second interview, second mock interview, and they were pretty helpful, especially the kind of questions they asked me about IR. They were really nice because I wanted to be questioned more on foreign affairs.
Yes.
And one of the board members actually even helped me out after the interview. He came out personally and gave me a little bit extra guidance as well. So that was that extra mile that they went. It was really nice.
So, Garima, anything more would you like to share from your whole journey of this civil service examination to the would-be or the people who are already preparing for this exam?
One thing that I would really like to point out is, and one thing which I have also suffered is the mental health part of this
Yes.
exam. It is very crucial to have a very good mindset throughout the exam. Even people who prepared number of times for prelims end up messing up the paper on that day. So the mindset you have on that day is also very important. And to have a consistent level of preparation throughout that 1 year journey. It is a very long journey, and it ends up becoming 2 years, 3 years, you never know. So having that constant, having something else except your studies is very important to go back to when you're very tired, when you are done with studies for a while, when you're in a low zone. So having some hobbies, having something to watch out for, it is extremely important to be in a right mindset throughout.
So Garima, one last question. Like, did you have any plan B in your mind? Because that is also something like one attempt, two attempt, third attempt,
Yeah.
again question mark. Yes.
So I had actually kept a limit to myself, that 3 attempts and nothing more. Even if I reach interview, I will not give it, because you never know with this exam. So I was actually looking for jobs before the results came out, and yeah, my plan B was actually working, because I was really tired of all the theory, all the books. So I wanted to work on field, on ground a little bit before I do masters or something else. So yeah, the job career was my second option.
So Garima, is plan B necessary while preparing?
I think very difficult question, but one should definitely have a pit stop in mind, that depending on one's capabilities, one's background. If someone is from a professional degree holder like a CA or an LLB, it's much easier to find an alternate career option if UPSC doesn't work out. But for a person like me who just had a BCom degree, that really hit me after 3 attempts, that that gap year is increasing year on year. So it depends person to person, but you definitely should have something else in mind, because the success rate is pretty low, and 20s are for exploring, for doing new things. And yeah, you should give yourself that extra zone.
So did they ask you questions around gap year as well?
No, they didn't ask me questions about that.
Okay. So again, like prelims is approaching. So any special message for the prelims aspirants this time?
One special message is, don't pick up any new material in the next 2 months. Don't follow whatever your friend is following, whatever your study partner is following. Just whatever you've done till now, ensure that revision is very up to the mark. Ensure that your tests are up to the mark. And yeah, best of luck.
So best of luck to you also, Garima, and
Thank you,
hope to
ma'am.
see
Thank
you
you.
as a great foreign service officer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Garima. Thank you.
Thank you.